Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Kitchen Conversations. My name is Julia Gammon, if you haven't met me before, and I'm the dietitian at Candler Wellness Center. I primarily work with the wellness weight management program, and so I feel like cooking is a huge part of that, especially for people who want to lose weight and just want to eat healthier in general. So I am here for you guys to teach you how to cook some easy, healthy, and simple meals. So today we're going to be making a sheetpan meal, and we are going to have chicken, like a Parmesan crusted chicken. We're going to do some fresh green beans, and we're going to do some little red and yellow baby potatoes, and we lost one. So let's go ahead, and the first thing that I like to do, of course, is read through your directions. If it's a recipe that you're following, and I can add the link underneath this video for you guys, but the first thing I like to do is just read through the recipe, make sure you have everything, and just make sure that you know exactly, what your plan of action is. All right, step 2, after you've read through your directions and you're confident that you know how to do everything, there's nothing crazy on the ingredient or the direction list, let's go ahead and get started. So the next step I like to do is just get everything out that you're gonna need as far as ingredients. I find that this step really helps make things go quicker, and you have everything you need, even, the things like your measuring utensils that you're gonna need. I like to just go ahead and get those out too. So it really seems, especially for those who don't cook often, to make, your cooking experience go a lot smoother and just go a lot easier. So the first thing you wanna do is find a sheet pan. What I'm gonna use today, and just a normal, pretty standard size sheet pan will do. Make sure you have plenty of room though. Today I'm going to use, it's more of like a cake pan. I guess it's like a sheet pan, but this is what I'm going to use just because it's a lot wider, I think, than what I've already got. So I'm going to use this, and I would encourage you to either spray the bottom with some cooking spray, or if you've got a silicone mat, you can do that. Or I wanted to show y'all, I have these. And they fit the exact size of the pan, and I just think it's really easy to use when you're baking or cooking or whenever. And that way you can just pull it off, throw it away, and easily wash the pan out afterwards. So just gonna put this in here, and I'll probably give it a little, well, no, I'm gonna spray glue on it. So that's in there, ready to go. Our next step is gonna be, and I'm just gonna run through the ingredients. We're gonna use a pound of baby potatoes. So if you find a bag that looks like this, this is gonna contain a little bit over a pound. If you've got a food scale at home and you wanna be really precise, then you can use this handy dandy thing and measure it to be exact if you want. It's not a huge, it's not a must, but if you want to, you can. I think it's kind of cool. And then you can buy fresh green beans. Maybe you buy it from a market, or maybe you get the clear plastic bag. I've already dumped mine out onto a plate because I wanted to measure 12 ounces of green beans out. You could also do your frozen green beans in a bag if you've got them. That would work just as fine as well. So, and then you want to buy a pack of boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I bought a pack of 2. It calls for a pack of 3. It's kind of versatile. So if you have 2 or 3, whatever works. We're going to do 1.5 tablespoons of oil. I like to use either like an avocado oil, or I like to use an olive oil, or I like to use avocado oil, but I'm currently out of avocado oil, unfortunately. So olive oil it is, and we'll run through the rest of the ingredients in just a little bit as we move forward. All right, so our next step is to start preparing our vegetables. We're gonna prepare our green beans, we're gonna prepare little potatoes. So we're gonna start with the green beans. I've done a few already. But what we're looking for here, because these are fresh green beans, so they still got the little stems on from where they've picked them. And I mean, you can eat them, you can leave them on, but you probably don't want to. So I'm just gonna use kitchen scissors. However, you're more than welcome to use a knife and chop them that way. I just think this is a lot easier and maybe safer. So you're just gonna take your green bean and you're just gonna cut that very edge off. And sometimes the other sides won't have any at all, so you don't have to worry about that. When you're done cutting your green beans, just place them on one side of your sheet pan. And I was thinking, you know, if you have kids or younger people living in your house, then this might be a great way to let them help you in the kitchen or help you cook, as long as you trust them with scissors. So, you know, maybe while they're chopping the ends off of the green beans, you can be cutting the potatoes, and it can just make dinner go a lot quicker. So I am gonna finish cutting all those in a second, but we will move on to our potatoes. So our little baby potatoes, it calls for red potatoes, but I just got a mix of red and yellow. They taste the same to me. So you wanna take your potatoes, wash them if you need to, and you wanna cut them in quarters or fourths. So I'm just going to take my potato, be careful not to cut your fingers, cut it in half, and then always when you're cutting vegetables, lay it on its flat side before you're cutting again, and that's just gonna stabilize it a lot more and hopefully prevent from any finger cutting. So you see these are flat. Next, I'm just gonna cut them together, and now we've got our potato cut in fours or quartered. And you're gonna put these on the other side of your sheet pan. So go ahead and do all of these. And if y'all have never made a sheet pan before, the concept behind them is that you only have to use one pan. So, you know, you're not having to dirty up all kinds of dishes, or use a bunch of different dishes. You can do it all in that one single pan. So it's pretty easy. And a way that might make this go even easier or quicker, especially during a really busy work week, or, you know, maybe you're single and you don't have help cooking dinner, is you can, maybe on the weekends, you can go ahead and, you know, cut all the ends of the green beans off and go ahead and quarter your potatoes and that kind of stuff. That way it makes it just even easier. All you've got to do is literally put it in the sheet pan, season it, and pop it in the oven. So I'm gonna finish these up. We'll be right back. All right, so our next step is gonna be to make the Parmesan crust mixture. And all you're gonna need for that mixture is mayonnaise. And I looked for a light mayonnaise. I got this one. As you can see, it is 35 calories per tablespoon, and it is 3.5 grams of total fat with just 0.5 grams of saturated fat. So those are the kinds of things I'm looking for on a mayonnaise or like a dressing label, would be calories and fat content. Now I did compare this with like an olive oil, or I think it was an avocado based, and this actually had, all the nutrients were really the same, but this one was a little lower calorie, lower saturated fat. So either one of those are great options, but I just went with this one for today. So we're gonna need a 1/3 cup of the mayonnaise. And I don't know if y'all have ever seen those videos where they make the grilled cheeses and they put the mayonnaise on the outside of the crust and it makes the crust super crispy. But I guess it's just kind of a fat and an oil mixture together, and that really works the same way kind of as like a butter, as far as the crispiness part. So the mayonnaise in this is gonna help make the outside of your chicken crispy as well, which is one of my favorite parts about this. So we've got our mayonnaise. Oh my goodness. We've got our mayonnaise. We've got some in the pan now. And I actually used the wrong cup. So I'm gonna pour it into this one. I'm having all sorts of issues. but that's okay. That's what, you know, that's what happens realistically in the kitchen. So I'm just gonna pour it into the actual 1/3 of a cup. Don't worry about the mayonnaise in the sheet pan, it's all good. I will get that out before we put it in the oven. All right, so we actually got a 1/3 cup now. I'm going to dump it in the bowl. All right, next I'm going to grab, well really I need this 1/4 of a cup, and we're gonna do a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. You can do grated or you can do shredded, whatever you prefer. So I had this in the fridge already, so I'm gonna use this. And I'm just gonna fill up my 1/4 of a cup. Parmesan cheese, it always gets clumpy. Almost there. Alrighty, awesome. So we've got 1/4 a cup poured into our bowl. Now the next ingredient it calls for a spinach herb seasoning, but I'm pretty sure they only sell the specific kind at Kroger. So I was at Walmart, and I found a all-purpose garlic, herb, and black pepper and sea salt seasoning. So I'm gonna use this. Keep in mind, this has some sodium or extra salt in it too, so take that into consideration if you're watching your sodium intake. And we're gonna use a 1.5 tablespoons of this. So measure out a tablespoon. You can also use basil or parsley, will work just as well. And 1/2. All right, got a little ahead of myself. Okay, and next we're just gonna mix it together. So just mix it really well. Our next step after this is we are just gonna add this on top of the chicken in an even layer. I like recipes like this too, as far as the Parmesan crust, because pretty much for the most part you're always gonna have mayonnaise and Parmesan cheese sitting in your fridge. So you can make this and you can top it on top of salmon, you can do it on top of steak, you can do it on chicken with something else on the side. It's really super easy. So here's our mixture. I'm gonna take 1/2 of it, this chicken, and the other 1/2 on the other. All right, and then I'm just gonna spread that. Our oven is at 425 and it is ready and preheated. Okay. And we're gonna bake it for about 22 to 25 minutes, depending on how fast your oven cooks. If you've got a meat thermometer, then you are gonna wanna look for an internal temperature of about 160 to 165. And that's how, for the chicken, and that's how you'll know that it is cooked and it is done and ready to eat. So I'm gonna put this in the oven and I'll be back in about 22 minutes. All right, it's been about, I'll probably say 25 to 30 minutes in this oven. I took the chicken out at 20, or I took the Sheetpan meal out at 25, checked the temperature and it needed just a little bit more. So I turned the oven on broil, and I stuck it back in for about 5 minutes, and I wanted to broil it too so I could get the chicken nice and crispy. So I'm gonna show you guys a close up. I'm gonna take my little thermometer out of here, and it looks absolutely delicious, easy, and super balanced. So we've got our yummy green beans, our chicken, look at that crust, and our potatoes. So looks delicious and I can't wait to try it. I hope you guys try it too, and just know that there's so many varieties of Sheetpan meals that you can try at home. Like I said earlier, you can easily replace the chicken with a piece of salmon. You can do this with a pork loin. You can do easy chicken fajitas by cutting up the chicken in little pieces and peppers and onions, throw them all on here. coat them in oil, you're seasoning and popping it in the oven. That one takes probably about 15 minutes in the oven. It's super quick. You can do shrimp, you can do sausage, you can do all kinds of things, and really you can mix whatever vegetables in that you like. It's pretty much the same process. The only thing I will say is if you're cooking vegetables like carrots or just vegetables that are more dense and typically take longer to cook compared to something like, maybe an asparagus or a broccoli that might not take quite as long, just take that into consideration. Sometimes you might have to put the vegetable that takes the longest to cook in the oven first for a little bit while you're preparing the rest of the meat and the other option, the other vegetable, and then throw those on 10 minutes later. But for the most part, super easy. They're all really similar and they're all super delicious and balanced. So let me know if you try this recipe, and I hope you like it. To receive credit for the video, there's going to be a link sent out to take a quiz. 5 questions, super easy, and I will mark you down for credit for watching this for your lecture, your 1 lecture per quarter. So thank you again. My name is Julia. If you have any questions, my office is in the Wellness Center. So thanks for watching.